pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The notice requirements.
The notice requirements of the New Jersey Public Meetings Law can be satisfied by forwarding a news release to the Asbury Park Press on December 20, 2014, stating that a regular meeting of the ToCN Township Committee will be held on June 24, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. Town Hall. The notice requirements have been posted on the Township website and copies on file in the Township Clerk.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Here.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Here.
Committeeman McNabb?
Here.
Mayor Orville?
Here. Approval of minutes?
I have no changes. No, so moved. Second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
I'm staying as I was absent.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Orville?
Yes. Ordinance 2015-9. An ordinance amending Chapter 258 Sewage Disposal Systems, subsection 2 for fees. This is the second reading. Any comments from the committee?
No.
Open this up to the public. Seeing none, I'll close it. Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Orville?
Yes. Ordinance 2015-10, an ordinance amending Chapter 263, Water Supplies, Individual and Semi-Public. This is the second reading. Any comments from you people? Open it to the public. Seeing none, we'll close it. Motion.
So, second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Orville?
Yes. Ordinance 2015-11, an ordinance amending Chapter 243, Food Establishments Retail. This is the second reading for this also. Comments? Open it to the public. Closing it. Motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Orville?
Yes. Resolution 2015-80. This is a resolution confirming and certifying length of service award program, LoSAP, credits for 2014 for Pulse Neck First Aid Squad. Comments?
We see 13 people getting full credit. Got my count. So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
I will abstain due to council's request as I'm a life member of the First Aid Squad.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Orville?
Yes.
Mayor, for just one second back. Tom, that's not something we've gone for, right? Close off? No.
That was our budget. Resolution 2015-81, resolution confirming and certifying length of service award program, LoSAP credits for 2014 Pulse Neck Fire Company number 1. Comments?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Orville?
Yes. Resolution 2015-82, resolution authorizing the Township of Pulse Neck to participate in a mutual agreement with participating municipalities in the County of Monmouth. Anybody want to comment on this?
Yeah, this is our mutual aid agreement with the county. We do it every year. It's just it's time again to renew it. I'll move it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNabb?
Yes.
Mayor Orville?
Yes. Motion to approve consent agenda. Resolution 2015-83, the resolution authorizing refund of tax overpayment due to tax appeal. Resolution 2015-84, resolution authorizing recreational program refunds. Any comments?
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Longo,
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Committeeman Maggi,
Yes.
Mayor Rocco.
Yes. Administrator's report.
Members of the committee, we collected a small handicap parking issue with the library. The first spot was crosshatch, blue crosshatch, and had a parking sign popped in front of it. It's not a parking space. It's actually the loading and unloading zone for handicap vans. So you're required to have two. So what we did is, that one's crosshatch, that's the loading zone. We took that sign and moved it to the third one. We're gonna borrow a handicap logo and we'll paint it on the ground and everything will be as it should be.
Do that yourself, son? You do that yourself?
He's got the blue paint on.
Need some help, let me know.
Monmouth County has advised that they're done with the redesign of the intersection 34 and 537, and construction will be in 2016, hopefully springtime. That combined with DOT agreeing to overlay 34 in springtime.
Don't come close tonight, don't come close.
That would be very
Merry Christmas. Well, it's done during pumpkin season, I guess.
Tom Frank and I contributed a health-related maintenance, facilities and maintenance program. Checking sub pumps, cleaning air ducts, schedule where the funding is in the budget for it. Mr. Thompson will be returning on limited duty from his car accident. I called him the other day and advised that I have a job for him. It will be his job to execute all of the items on that list. He also has volunteered, although he does not know it yet, while on my duty to come up with a computer program that we can track maintenance of all municipal vehicles rather than the wakeboard that they currently use. I think it's time. I would much prefer, based on mileage, hours of service, and all that kind of stuff. So we will get that done, and we'll have plenty of time. I was in a walking booth.
Well, there's gotta be like 30 free apps for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. We can put something together. We are progressing in the search for the next township administrator, for the search committee. Mary Sassel, Mr. Mackall, and myself reviewed 22 applicants for the second posting. 5 have been selected for first round interviews, scheduled in mid-July. 5 in a row, one after another. Hopefully, we will find a good candidate or two to bring to the full committee for the final round of interviews. And they would match up with the one candidate from the first round. So you'll have some choices and we'll find a good township administrator for it. That's it, folks.
On the first part, you were talking about checking the sewer lines and stuff like that. I see the cones are still over there in front of the police station, in front of the courthouse, from one last year when the lines were all plugged up and all the water went into the basement. And we had, I think it was Osborne, come here and suck it all out, clean out. I don't think it's ever been finished out to the pond.
Okay.
So just put that on there.
Yeah.
Radar.
That should be, just to add to that, I think the gutter should probably be part of that.
As far as
That list,
that's, on the list.
And also, and what Tom mentioned is a good one, because that was cleared out, and that happened after a township committee meeting, the township committee members were over there. Bailey. Police first. But it did not get cleaned. I don't remember being on a regular maintenance program.
No, it wasn't.
They went out to the
They were out there the next day and they cleaned it out to the building, but I don't think from the building out to the pond, they got finished.
Well, they don't
I
pass
have to
that.
come up with you guys is a regular annual, so this just becomes a matter of routine, both for vehicles and for the facilities every year.
And just generators also to kick them on. None of the police stations.
That's not on the list.
Generators should be on that list. One of the failures that we had in the past was the generator worked, but then it didn't, the sump pump wasn't plugged in or something.
Right.
It
It was on the wrong
part of it was on the wrong circuit.
leg or something.
So generators will be kicked on as part of that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Vouchers?
One other thing, Tom, can you just put on there, I don't think that we've ever talked about this, but I don't know that we ever really have a disaster plan for public works. You know, what would we do if we had a bad fire at public works, or what would we do if we had a catastrophic problem like that at public works? You know, businesses routinely have some kind of what happens if there's a fire in their building, what happens if there's a flood, you know, they have the ability to work off-site, they can forward phone calls and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know that we've ever talked about that for public works.
If that were to happen, the first thing I would suggest is some kind of shared service.
No, I'm sorry, OEM coordinator, broke on that.
He's not right now.
Yeah, I understand, but just to make sure that we're not doing something that's duplicative.
I'd love to have plans we don't ever have to use. Sorry for the interruption. Oh, and one of the things, so administrative, and I've seen this, and I keep forgetting to bring it up, it's been going on 6 years now. On the motion to approve the consent agenda, I've seen a lot of towns have just a little half of a paragraph that comes after that. It says something along the lines of, matters on the consent agenda are considered routine. And it's a 2-sentence thing that I think helps the public who may not regularly attend meetings understand that those are very often.
Worked under those 2 sentences for about 25 years, I'll get to that.
Great, thanks. And if you guys are not familiar with it, it's read right after the motion to adopt the consent agenda. And sometimes you have 10 things on there. When you're doing a $2 thing and a $3 thing here, it's not terribly sexy, but I think the public who may not normally attend doesn't know what the consent agenda is. Thank you. I'm sorry for the interruption. Vouchers, I did go through the entirety of the vouchers. The vouchers total $255,992.03. Excuse me. And I reviewed all of those and approved them. If there's any questions, otherwise I would ask for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McNamara?
Yes.
Mayor Orton?
Yes. Committee reports. You want to go first?
I have no reports tonight, Mr. Mayor.
I think you're done. All right. You're next.
Yeah, I have a couple of things related to the library. The library, the friend of the library is replacing the carpet in the library. It's time. And they're running a fundraiser in an effort to support that endeavor. And we're posted, that's here in Town Hall, right, Beth?
Yes.
For everybody to see. So you don't have to read it from the distance. And I know you can see my squinty eyes. It's probably difficult to see from that distance, especially with the glare on it. But they're looking for fundraisers, as you know, well, most of you know that have lived here for a while. They do the brick fundraiser, so that they're incorporating that into this program as well. $500 donation gets you a brick, and it also helps to defer the cost of the new carpet. And they're just looking for generally for donations to offset the cost of the carpet.
Are they doing anything in comparison?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, just some foundation kind of taking over there.
Beth, do you have something, they have a booth at the fair? Some stuff at the fair?
I'm sorry.
Will the library folks have it, friends of the library have something at the fair?
That I'm not sure.
I'll find out.
Maybe we can check with the report so people can put that in there.
And the other thing that was, our clerk let me know a little bit earlier was, the library, as you know, runs all sorts of really great programs, both for kids and for adults. Today they have to run a program that they've done annually, with little horses and buggies. And traditionally our police have helped with safety measures. Today the police were busy with with high school graduation, so our fire police were nice enough to come over and help out with that. And it looked like everybody had an enjoyable and safe time in that particular activity. That's all I have.
No report, Mayor.
All right. I really have nothing to report, so I don't have any meetings either. Our next meeting will be July 15th. Not the second one, it's going to be the third.
That'll be the only one who are.
All right, 7:30. We have never changed the time. I'm just going. Comments from the public? Yes, Mr.
Elaine and Route 34 Colton. The executive director, Sandy Huber of the Clean Communities, asked me to speak to you all tonight in reference to a 1217 charge on 2014, a salary transfer of $4,300 to offset 5 employees pay. All right, and that was supposed to be $860 per person. None of these employees received extra money as a salary. I spoke to Johnny and Tommy Lees about this, and the executive director in Trenton, and she said she wants you to please return that money back into the account of Clean Communities.
I'll speak with the administrator, Mayor, if you, and why don't I deal directly with the state representative from the communities? Can you give me that contact information, I'll speak with her?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I want to make sure nothing's lost in the translation.
Well, she said to me when John spoke, right, and I called her, because you have to realize, gentlemen, that when I write the report, it's under the penalty of law. I'm the one hanging for it. So we have to do things according to the rules and regulations of Clean Communities. If we did have employees, and I have no objections to these 5 people's receiving compensation for the work that they do for Clean Communities, but it should be reflective. They should get their salary plus the extra money. And she agreed.
There's an error to be corrected.
We'll find out if it's an
Thank you very
error.
much.
It
I
may also be
appreciate it.
an on-time thing that's permitted, but we'll check.
Anyone else? Chuck?
Could you expand upon the Monmouth County approval of construction of 537 and Highway 34?
Well, it's the same plan, they're realigning the road a little bit because down by the Colts Neck Inn, where the bridge in that area was, they had to move it over a little bit because of 2 gas lines.
Yeah.
One side's high pressure, one side's low pressure. So they had to do a realignment part of it.
Do we have any idea what side they're going to start on? Or it's going to be the west
I
side?
asked the county, and they agreed, they're going to send me a PDF of the project.
Jake, do you hear him, Chuck?
PDF of the project.
Yeah, we don't know. We're hoping they're gonna start in May next year, spring next year, we're, you know.
Yeah, it's hope.
So,
There hasn't been any.
I'm sure they're gonna, before that time comes, they're gonna come here and show us everything out there all over again. Because I think they have to put all that to public and all that. It's gonna end by the full snake in.
Chuck's one of the first to know.
Yeah.
When they
Don't wait
start
for
working, let us know.
So Tom, maybe we can ask for a public presentation from the county in advance, so.
Absolutely.
So residents like Mr. Cameron who live very close to that intersection can hear what all's going on.
Thank you.
Vince Valley, Tory Clark, Wilson. I'd like to bring up the subject as a head to something we've been doing in the past. High school budget reform.
Knew that was coming.
And seems like we keep slipping. Mayor and I had discussions last year. Also very
And
time.
we'll continue having it for the next several years, I'm sure.
Passed the buck to the new mayor, who, the last correspondence on 15 was going to set up this ad hoc meeting that I had proposed between people, who work for the township, like John and some of these. So we could really analyze the numbers and look at from our perspective before we bring it up to the public, what we might do or might not be able to do or whatever. And I've had meetings, as I mentioned to you, with Carolyn Casagrandi's office, it's a Federal Regional thing, we had a presentation, I got a pretty favorable nod from the Federal Regional Board that this is something that needs to be readdressed. So I came to the committee hoping that rather than doing a grandstand play, trying to get some kind of a thing done outside the committee's round, I wanted to do something that emanated from the committee. Pull together whatever resources we can, find out what we can do and move forward. It's not happening. I know you've got a busy schedule, not the least of which is Tom trying to work with you guys to find, a new administrator and a host of other things. But I think we're talking about big bucks here that we're paying out. I mean, this year, I think the cost of pupil for the region is something like $14,000. It's something like $28,000 for posting. And the spread is like from the cheapest to what we pay, as much as 475% of that number. So it's just out of touch, but we need some official movement, you know, from a responsible.
Vince, actually, let me ask the question, and I'm particularly in tune with this, and I've been following her for a long time, and I know you're a smart guy. It really comes down to the legislature. There's two formula choices. There's Formula A and Formula B. They're on Formula B right now, and I agree with you. It's twice, you know, why Colts Neck has to pay twice as much money to educate a kid at the same schools as everywhere else seems out of sort. It's quite frankly, it approaches the Abbott School District costs on a per student basis, which is you know, obviously completely out of skew and always attacked. What can a township committee do? What can this side of this taxing entity, separate from that taxing entity, do?
Here's the net of what I understand it will be procedure. The repeal would have to ultimately go to the state director of education.
From who though?
From whomever.
But I don't think it's not from us.
But we would need to have the support of our elected state officials. Now, Casagrandi's chief of staff has indicated that they're essentially on board, but a lot of work needs to be done. They've been, in response to my talking to them, they've been in communication with the Freehold Regional Board, who agrees, and you know, to quote Sampson, Chuck Sampson, who's the superintendent, formula certainly needs to be readdressed. Now, this whole thing is, the latest statute that I was able to find last year says something that's pretty simple if you cut through all the crap. There are three things that should be used to determine how much you pay in the formula. What your adjusted assessment, you know, what valuation is.
Property values.
And your enrollment. Or the third is a combination of those two. The last ruling I found for the end of 2013, which was from many books up further north in the state, but it was a similar thing that went on for years. And they were turned down, and there were appeals, and they were turned down and appealed. Ultimately, the commission ruled something like 50-50. That gave us that kind of ruling in our situation. I think last year, I read the numbers quickly, but that's why I needed John to make sure my arithmetic is correct. It would saved us about over $4 million in taxes. $4 million. Now, you know, the average person who looks at their tax bill, they still think, wow, look at that, the committee's taxing us so crazy. They don't realize what you guys are doing here is only a little portion. The big part is our local schools and the regional schools. Well, the regional school is a monster now. And it's only getting worse for us. Why is it getting worse? Because this formula from last century penalizes us for having few students and gives us extra burden on what is no longer the truth. I mean, we've got mansions all over this county and everything. It's not like Colsnick is such an elitist group that we're the only ones that can afford to pay the extra money. We've got, you know, it's a different world out there now. I mean, Howell is an example of they're getting the best buy around.
What are they, 5,700? Or they're about 5,700 per student.
What they pay?
Yeah.
I would say 89.40. We're 27,064. If I multiply.
That's 3 times.
So,
I circle back to the question of what we can do.
yeah, Vince, I mean,
I agree with both.
I mean, we actually met last year with representatives of Rio Regional because last year the tax increase was significant. This year, minuscule or
But
going
it's
to.
still an
I
increase.
understand. So we were especially concerned last year, and we were told the same thing that you understand, is that the increase was directly proportionate to the decrease in the number of grade school children that we have in our local district, which is, right, it seems counterintuitive at best to say that if you have less kids, you pay more. So we wholeheartedly agree, and certainly I do, and you and I have discussed this on a number of occasions, and of course I pay the same taxes that you do, and it's somewhat painful.
Probably more.
Yeah, maybe, but it's somewhat painful to pay such a disproportionately high amount of taxes. The question that we've always discussed and contemplated is the remedy. What remedy do we have? And we know historically that a prior committee, probably going back about 10 years, when Ben Forrest was on the committee, when I think Ken Florek was on the committee, they actually investigated the possibility of instituting suit to have the formula changed, and they came away with the conclusion that the likelihood of success in the litigated matter was very low, and they opted not to do it. I'm not sure that dynamic has changed at all from a legal perspective. The question, I guess you're asking, and I think it's a valid question, is whether we can persuade officials at the state level, because this is legislative, to take a look at this and revisit it. Now, the problem, of course, is that for every dollar that we save, somebody else in the district is paying, right? So the money's got to come from someplace. So not that I'm feeling sorry for how we're paying a third of what we're paying, but from a practicality standpoint, to get legislators in a given district to penalize one constituency for the benefit of another constituency always seemed far-fetched to me.
Well, the thing is, I didn't run all the numbers for this year, but for last year's numbers, which I don't think will be most difference. If you apply what I believe would be, use the last ruling that the commissioner made, and that portion, that I said would save us like $4 million or more, and each of your typical $800,000 household, over $1,000 in taxes they would save. Okay, if you just use that example, and then you look at the resulting cost per pupil, and say close numbers will be the highest, by the way. Use that as the 100% number. Almost everybody else falls in relative to that number, 58 to 61% of it. So we would still be paying a lot more than everybody else.
But I don't think anybody's disagreeing. If you're preaching to the choir, I think the difficulty is, I think you're preaching to the choir. The difficulty is this, and I'll be maybe a little more crass than Committeeman McNabb has more decorum than I do, but you're going to a Caroline Casagrande or Mary Angelini or Senator Beck and saying, help us to the detriment of your other towns. Because they also represent the other towns that are affected by this.
I know.
And so we're asking, but let me finish my thought. Because I don't think we have standing as a township committee. We're statutorily, we're a completely separate taxing entity. They're a separate taxing entity. They can no sooner come in here and tell us how to do business than we can go tell them how to do business, because they're completely separate entities. Now, having said that, I think your question, I'd like to believe your question is, can we as individuals who happen to wear a hat of a committee person call our legislators and say, let's take a harder look at this? And I think that that's a different question than the township committee. I don't think we have the ability to pass a resolution. Well, we have the ability to pass a resolution. I don't think it has any effect.
I think it would be much, actually, it would be premature, wouldn't it?
Tom, you have some input from Freehold?
Same circumstance, but not to the same degree, okay? And it was annoying watching how, basically we subsidize the other ones. As long as they use the formula, and understand, the commissioner can only make a ruling within the framework of the formula, which is the legislative act. Okay? A brilliant committeeman, PhD, the whole 9 yards, actually fought his way all the way up to making a presentation in front of the Commissioner of Education. It made perfect perfect sense, it was logical, it's fair, you know, but fair depends on which side of the line you're on. And the end result of a year and a half of exhaustive efforts was I can only make a ruling within the framework of the existing legislative formula, which brings you full circle to what Mr. Fitzgerald was saying. And if you think they're gonna, for the interest of Colts Neck saving money, increase the taxes in how, look at the populations of both, put yourself in their shoes, and think about what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, so, I mean, my thought process was last year, and you and I communicated about this. Because the bump last year was fairly significant, that at some point I felt that perhaps Colts Neck would have no choice but to consider legal action. And I told you, and I still feel the same way, that it's something that we have to closely monitor. And if it came to a point where we felt we didn't have a choice, where the increases on an annual basis became so ridiculous that we didn't have a choice, then I felt that at some point perhaps the township committee would have to consider taking some type of action. But I followed it this year. I know what the numbers are this year, and it was very, no, this year was, it was less than 1%. It was a tiny increase this year. Last year was the big increase.
I said it went from 24 to 27 this year.
No, it was not.
Well, it's been increased virtually every year. And to your point, Tom, the legislator, the report that I read said that those are the three factors that he used to determine. Now, how you set up the proportion of those three factors makes all the difference in the world. But I used the example of the last one that I found where they made a ruling on.
But that was in the 1990s, right?
I'm sorry?
Was that in the 1990s?
That was in 2013. I think it was close enough.
I didn't see that one.
So,
All right.
I think that this is, unfortunately, I think it's probably, you're in the right church, not the right pew.
but there is, I think, what I'm saying is that I'm not asking us to jump to kind of take action in making some kind of referendum, but I want to have a clear study made by qualified people, you know, that emanates from the township committee, not from...
Just to make sure that the formulaic calculation is the correct calculation, that's...
Well, that, and that my research on the legislatures is up to date and correct, and that...
We have to be careful with that, fantastic. We have to be careful with having any township employee going through and spending time. I mean, their time is an asset. I mean, you have to be careful about what they do in terms of. But let's assume you're championing. By the way, again, I want to say that I agree with you because I've read everything that you put out there and I'm pretty in tune with it. But we have to be careful with having our CFO going through and checking numbers to support a particular township resident's concept, cause, or concern. Not in a bad way, but we can't have that person, that everybody in town can go to them and say, hey, can you check my figures?
We can't form an ad hoc committee.
Mr. Antoni, sit down with Sean Boyce and just review this in a broad...
Yeah, I mean, we've actually met with Mr. Boyce also, not that I understand the formula of the calculations, but...
No, Sean Boyce, I'm in communication with, he provided me with...
Yeah, and he's great, but I think we can maybe set something up along those lines. I think it'll be, to have some limited communication between Mr. Antoni and Mr.
Yeah,
Boyce.
just decide what we can and can't do. By the way, should we rule out withdrawal and sending and receiving?
Wait. Don't forget what has
I'm
happened to
saying
that.
there are all kinds of things.
3/5 of the sending districts have to vote in favor of that.
I'm sorry?
3/5 have to vote in favor of that. It will never happen.
Yeah, it's not a secession plan where we can withdraw from the freedom.
Yeah.
There's procedures for that also. You should read up on that.
They have to let us out. They're not letting us out. They got our money. Why would they let us out? How would they let us out?
I would think that would be a hard thing,
But, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll talk to you more offline, because, I'm more successful. But it's not that we haven't thought about all of these possibilities and the pros and cons. We don't come in here and discuss what really is a fairly sore subject. I mean, as you know, it is a very sore subject because of the the disproportionate amount of money that we pay in. It eats me every bit as much as it eats you.
Imagine how much it affects the magnet, it affects the average.
And like you, I don't have kids in the Freehold Regional High School District, so I feel it from the same perspective that you do not having kids in the district as well. But there are a fair number of kids in our town that do benefit from the services the region provides, so you don't want to penalize your own kids at the same time either, right? Even if they're not your own kids, your blood kids, but they're the kids of your town, it's the kids that we represent. We don't want to penalize them either at the same time, so we don't want to make any decisions that would have an adverse impact on the residents of the town.
Let me say that I think that Freehold Regional High School system is an excellent.
It is, yeah.
Performance
I'm a graduate of it.
schools,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying anything about that we should criticize the region's performance or anything.
Yeah.
Vince, can you meet with, Tom, will you meet with Vince? And I think the first one, see if we can dig up because I don't want to reinvent this wheel. Let's see if we can dig up what Floric and those guys came up with the last time that brought them to the dead end. And maybe that will be helpful. I'm not saying that that's the end of it, but that's a good starting point.
I had an opportunity to see, I think the summary letter that went for the last time we crossed
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I mean, a one-page letter that says, you're paying too much money, these other guys are not paying, you gotta do something about it. Ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cut it if I was sitting at the other end, these crybabies shouldn't.
But you may find out, the background of that is you may find out that that's all we can do as a township committee.
But
That's what I think you need.
But I think you're right, without any substance to the argument. I mean, we know what the argument is. We know, just based on the numbers, how much more we're paying than everybody else. But to make the argument that, for example, the calculations in accordance with the formula are incorrect, that we need a little bit more work. And perhaps Tom's right, maybe, I know Mr. Boyce is very receptive. He's always been receptive to us. I know you're in communication with him as well. Yeah, so perhaps a meeting with Mr. Boyce and Mr. Antonides might be beneficial. Maybe we can facilitate that. I mean, maybe not be bad.
Maybe the interesting tie in all that is that since we're supposed to be going to this whole, we're gonna reassess 20% of all the properties every year for 5 years, and that's gonna be a countywide program. Let's suck in the tax genius from the county and have them explain to us how that's gonna flatten the field for what we're talking about in terms of assessed value. Because a big part of that formula is assessed value. So the tax guy ought to sit next to the Freehold Regional folks and find out how it's gonna flatten the field.
Yeah.
It's not, but let's start getting the right people in the room. Because the reality is we have to point at the real problem. The real problem is ultimately the legislation has to change. And you're not going to get, if you want to spend the time, ask Caroline Cather, bring it to her face, are you willing to respond to the legislation? And her answer is going to be no. So, we can have all the conversation we want.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, in terms of the library, I don't know if we can cross boundaries here, but if you could speak to the Sports Foundation to get that on their page, I think a lot of young families in this town would spend money immediately to put their name on a brick in front of the library. I don't think they utilize it enough. I know my wife does. I don't. However, if that could cross party lines there, I think you get a huge turnout if you want to see their name.
Very good.
If you pass along, Beth, just remind me, I forget what their next meeting is, but I'm going to liaison to that. I'll take care of that.
Mr. Shorter.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Jeff Sauter, 41 N Street. A couple quick comments just on Mr. Scotty. I believe I hear his name, but with Mr. Scotty. On his point, I think it was what he's looking for is, I guess, a little bit more juice that you guys bring to the table. I know you might have limitations on that, but it seems like he can't maybe get far by himself, so he's just looking for some help. I don't think that just because another district or other constituents within the same district might get hurt is not a reason to look at the formula to make sure the formula is fair. So I think, what you guys bring to the table as a committee, as a collective group, and I know you can pass resolutions in support of things, and like even Mike may say it doesn't really go anywhere. You can pass resolutions opposing things that doesn't go anywhere. So I think that's what he's looking for, is just some help to make sure the formula is fair. It may end up that maybe we're not paying enough, and I don't know, maybe he comes around and bites us. But it sounded like, from what research he's done, it seems like, if it's been 10 years, a decade or so since this formula's been looked at,
No,
maybe,
last century.
okay, last century, that it needs to be re-examined again. My other comment to Tom Antis, thank you for updating us on, I guess, your eventual backfill position there, and getting a long-term fixture for the town to help everyone out. And my last comment is a comment to everyone. It's a letter that, yes, in fact, it's another letter. It's addressed to the mayor, but it's really to everyone, even though as a citizen we have to address the mayor. This is dated June 23rd. Dear Mr. Mayor, it is unfortunate that Township Attorney John Bennett, the Township Committee, and most importantly you, as our mayor, censored my public comments at the last Township Committee meeting on June 10th, 2010. Though it is clear these township officials, and particularly you, did not want the public to hear the facts supporting your exceptional valor and courage with the fire company, let me quickly state a fact concerning the last 5 years of service with the fire company that are on file with the township. From the period 2009 through 2013, you attended one call out of 2005. 0 out of 60 business meetings and 0 out of 60 training drills. In other words, you attended 1 out of...
Mr. Slaughter,
Yes.
we got to stop. The mayor's not here, you can't bash him for doing that. You want to talk to him? You talk to him, not here in public comment.
All right, so should I read this at then the next meeting when he's here, Mr. Deputy Mayor?
Mr. Sauter,
Yes.
you were warned at the last meeting about derogatory comments and personal attacks. You can submit it as part of the record. If you insist on attacking people personally, you're not going to be allowed to read it into the record. That should be clear to you from last meeting.
Okay, yes, John Bennett did say that it was, in his opinion, a personal attack. It wasn't. I'm just reading facts now. I'm not using derogatory language. I'm not using curse words. I'm not standing up screaming and shouting.
Another time.
It's a personal attack, Mr. Sauter. You can submit it as part of the record to the meeting tonight.
Okay, so I can have it attached to the minutes of the town
You
meeting?
can submit it as part of the record to me.
Okay, just one other last comment then, and just make sure that this is on the record too, please. That, dear Deputy Mayor, for the record, my name is Jeff Sauter, a resident of Cold Snake Township. I protest the censorship of my comments. I ask that you, the Deputy Mayor, reconsider your committee intent to censor and interrupt my comments, which I believe directly relate to our residents and our community, and further ask that this protest be recorded in the official minutes of this Township Committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Mann.
I just have one more comment to make to this gentleman
My
here.
name is J.P. Bartolomeo.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
You know.
The Sports Foundation and any organization can help the library by doing road cleanup. It's very easy to do, and you will make,
I'm not on that board,
well,
so you
you can
probably...
make recommendations to them, $500.
Sure.
Any group that wants to help the library obtain getting their carpet. And we pay up to $1,500 a year for free cleanups.
I'll pass that along to them.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Close public comments. Motion to adjourn before you do, Barry.
I have an update on litigation matter that arose today.
Okay.
Was that executive or productive?
You have to come.
Can we go to executive, even though it wasn't advertised? Yes?
Make a motion that we go to...
We have to, yeah, you made the motion, I'll second that motion.
Not expected to come back to the board.
I see.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Adjourn and go to executive. We got a motion to adjourn first, then go to executive.
Yes. Motion to adjourn is already, I think, you're going to vote on it?
No.
No. All right, you need a vote.
I will favor motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Roll call.
Committeeman Engel?
Yes.
Committeeman Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Committeeman McIntyre? Mayor Longfellow?
Yes. Now, motion for executive session.
So moved.
So moved. We actually have to do that before we adjourn. I would amend that motion to be made before the motion to adjourn. You can't make a motion if you've already adjourned. So the motion to go into executive has to occur before the motion to adjourn. So I make the motion to, Committeeman Engel made the motion to go into executive. I would just ask that that motion be reflected to what's been made before the motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second, as amended, to amend.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?